It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. We're going to talk about some charity work going on, some volunteer work, and some great volunteers with us in studio. Sherry Twamley's in studio today. You are the founder of Amigos Del Verde Valley. Welcome to studio. And Malcolm Otterson, volunteer in studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, good deal. But we have to have verbal response. Must have verbal response. All right, let's get right into it. Sherry, you came in here probably about a month ago.
Yes.
And you wanted to come on the show and talk about Amigos Del Verde Valley and the great work that's being done with that program.
Right.
So let's start with, first of all, what is Amigos Del Verde Valley?
Amigos Del Verde Valley is confronting a quiet crisis in the Verde Valley. It was developed to address seniors whose homes are in disrepair, who have inadequate fixed income, declining health and mobility, and their homes are falling in disrepair because they have no funds to fix and maintain them.
Now, how did you come about finding out that this was going on?
As a landlord in the Verde Village, I noticed my neighbors having problems with water intrusion and roofs and all kinds of problems, and I went to their house to ask if I could help. When I realized how severe the problem was, I started to see it everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I started to think, how can I solve the problem?
Right. And so, how did we decide to start solving this problem? I mean, it's a big project to take on. You're fixing someone's home.
Well, basically, I knew people in my area that did some volunteer work, and I started speaking in front of the Verde Village Property Owners Association, different places, and that's how Mal got involved. Because he had tried to do things like that before, but it just didn't work out. And I also realized that when people started asking me for help, that they had already called 8 different phone numbers, and they were told just to call me because there was no one else to do it.
Mm-hmm. How long ago was this?
This was in 2013 that we started this.
Okay.
And then we had our first one-day event where we did 11 yards in one day called our Lend a Hand event. That was in April of 2014.
How many volunteers did you have at that time?
We had 25 for that event.
Okay.
And we have our core, what I call our core of angels, which is 5 guys that are highly skilled.
Uh-huh.
And then as needed, we bring in more volunteers.
Those kind of guys that can do just about anything, huh?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They're very talented.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Malcolm, one of those?
No.
How did you get involved, Malcolm?
When I heard her talking, I said, I can sign up for this because this is something I had wanted to do in Verde Village. I can do a few things, but I take directions pretty well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got involved. I can work with almost all of our other volunteers, and they can tell me what to do. And so I'm basically labor.
Okay, all right. You're the gopher.
I'm the,
go for this and go for that.
Okay. And cut this right here.
And you pretty much volunteer all the time. That's pretty much what your job description is, I think. Sherry sent me over a bio on you, and it's pretty much that's what you do. You are a volunteer for just about everything.
I get to work on some things at my house. Mm-hmm. I have a slash pile to chip up that's about the size of this room. But
okay, but if you're not doing that, then you're out doing stuff in the community and helping other folks out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Lending a hand up.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any other life.
Okay. Well, you know what? We've got to have folks like you, otherwise it's not going to get done, right? Right, Sherry?
Mel really is a very humble person. He does many volunteer engagements, even for neighbors and friends, in addition to Amigos, and he has never said no. When I've called him, even at short notice, he just jumps right in, springs into action, and brings other people with him. And we'll talk about an example of what he did on a flood control project that might have saved someone's home.
Okay, before we do that, where'd you come up with the name Amigos Del Verde Valley? Where'd that come about?
Amigos is a tie to wanting to be a partner with the whole Verde Valley, from small businesses to government, because that's the way we can get things done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and give us that first example, the flood issue.
One of the recent projects that we took on was a lady that is in the Verde Heights, 76 years young, and she's in a wheelchair. she also has, she's nearly blind, and she called me to do some yard care. When I arrived, she wanted to show me pictures of her house being severely flooded, almost like Katrina.
Oh, wow.
Terribly so, year after year during the monsoon season. And I asked her if there was any holes in her foundation. She said yes. I realized that Hurricane Norbert was heading up last September, and that it was coming in that night, and she was in danger. Mm-hmm. I left immediately and called Mal and a team of people and said, can you help? And I called the city and asked them to keep the wastewater plant open where the sandbags are, so we could at least secure the home for that evening.
Sure, sure.
Luckily, Mal and Alan and a few other guys showed up, got all the sandbags filled and delivered just in the nick of time. Mm-hmm. Then I called all the utility companies and started blue staking. Being the optimist that I am and fearless, I said, this has to get fixed.
Right,
this lady's going to lose her house. She has $450 a month income.
It's going to be floating down a wash soon.
Terrible.
Right.
So I called the blue stake utilities. They came out, and then I started calling and asking for activation companies for help. I called everyone, and they told me it looked bad and that they couldn't do it. It was so big that it might be half a mile. So finally I got one man who said, well, maybe I can come. But I just went through a divorce. I'm raising 3 kids. And he said, I'm really, really busy, tied up on big contracts. So it took a while, but all of a sudden he did go by the house. He told me it didn't look good. It didn't look maybe possible, but he would still consider it. Next thing I knew is the homeowner called me on a Saturday morning screaming, why didn't you tell me they were coming? Why didn't you tell me they were coming?
Oh, okay, all right.
And there was a whole line of tractors and people coming. So they did the ditch, and it was a big L shape that was so big, it was just a massive one, because it had to go behind 3 homes as well as up the street, because the surface water is coming off of a road at a fierce rate. So at the end of that time, the homeowner walked out to thank them, and they just told her they had never been there and she never saw them. They were angels.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And next thing I knew is I had a letter from, or a card from Chip Davis congratulating us for being the can-do constituents of the Yavapai County.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to get things done, but there it is. You know, this guy all of a sudden decided he had time to do it, and he did it.
Yeah.
Can I make a point?
Yeah.
Sherry's the one that can find people to do it. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing.
Right.
She goes to businesses and gets them to contribute. She goes to Home Depot, gets tools, goes to Ace, gets tools for yard stuff. Sort of fierce beggar.
That's what she said. That's what she said before the show, that she is the fierce beggar. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not afraid to go out there. She's not afraid to go out there and ask for help and ask for materials and things like that.
Pretty much. How long have you known her?
Just about a month now, off and on.
Okay.
Yeah. Every time she's in here, I've seen her, I think.
Okay. You'll learn.
Yeah. Okay, we got to take a break, okay? Let's take a break. Real quick, AmigosDelVerdeValley.com is a great website to go to. Phone number for Sherry is 639-1666. If you want to volunteer or donate, give Malcolm a call at 634-9785. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking with Sherry Twamley and Malcolm Otterson today about Amigos Del Verde Valley. The website is amigosdelverdevalley.com. Phone number 639-1666 for Sherry. If you want to get a hold of Malcolm to volunteer or make a donation, it's 634-9785. So we've talked about one of the projects you were involved in.
Right.
But there's been quite a few over just the last year. Let's talk about how many. How many homes have you been to, and how many lives have you helped change over the last year?
We've done over 50 projects,
Okay.
and some of them were more than one for an individual. But most recently, we did a complete home makeover that was very extensive. We replaced the roof. We did a lot of exterior repairs, massive cleanup on the yard, over 7 truckloads, Mel?
Yeah. 7 or 8, yeah.
And
Wow.
there was plywood on the windows. There was a lot of areas that were rotted out. And that's a work in progress, but we did most of that just recently.
Right.
And that one is for a lady that is the first homesteader family in the Verde Valley in Sedona, living in a home that was almost uninhabitable.
How do you find these homes? Do these people, are these folks contacting you, or are you just driving through a neighborhood and say, wow, that house looks like it really needs some help?
They contact us.
Okay, all right.
We run articles from time to time in the Verde News and also the Cottonwood Journal about some of our projects, and that we always have our phone number in there.
Okay, so that's kind of helps spread the word.
And as I
about you
mentioned,
guys.
some of them call me at 6 a.m., 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
But that's okay with me.
Yeah, you just pop in their head and they think, okay, I need to get this fixed.
There is another organization
Yes.
that refers people to us because they aren't volunteer.
Well, there's many. We're getting calls.
Caregivers.
Yeah, Verde Valley Caregivers, Habitat, Verde Valley Habitat, all the hospices, Medical Guidance Center. The list is very long. But these are people calling me that say they have tried everywhere and they cannot get the help that they need.
How far out do you guys reach?
We do Clarkdale, Cottonwood, and the Verde Village. We do not go beyond those areas at this time.
Okay. And how many volunteers do you have right now?
We have a core of angels, which is 5 guys that are highly skilled.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we bring in other volunteers, and we partner with businesses who also bring their employees
Okay.
that are handymen or do roofing, construction, what have you, on big projects.
Now you mentioned when we were in the break that you wanted to make sure that we let folks know that this is outdoor work only.
Yes.
You're not inside the house due to liability,
Right.
insurance reasons, and things
Right.
like that. So it's unfortunate that we have to
Right.
think about that stuff, but it is the case these days. So
Well, we make an exception for people that need a handrail. So if it's a mobility issue, for example, a couple weeks ago, some neighbors of an elderly couple who was in hospice care called us for an emergency. They said that the couple was being sent home from the hospice facility because they had no more money. Their house was a trailer, that both toilets weren't working, and there was a stairs that they could have never gotten up to get into their house. It was a disaster. So they called and asked for help. Within 24 hours we were there, and we built ballet-style, easy grip handrails, because I was thinking, well, they're stronger in their upper body. They can probably get upstairs if they have enough strength in their arms.
Sure.
So we built those, and then we went back, and 2 weeks later, I visited the couple to see if they were able to use the rails. And the lady wanted to show me she could dance on the stairs.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so these are the stairs just into the front door of the house we're talking about.
Just to get into their house.
We're not talking about inside the house going upstairs. This is just...
Well, it was from the patio, covered patio, going up.
Just to get in the house, though.
Yeah, they could not get into the house. Yeah.
Get the bathrooms going, Malcolm?
We didn't. The neighbor did.
Okay, so those are taken care of as well.
Yeah.
So here these folks are at home now, be able to be in their home with working bathrooms. That's great. Give me another success story. You've got a bunch. You've got to have a bunch.
Well, the home makeover is really a special one because that started about 1.5 years ago. And Mal can tell you how many projects we've done there. How many truckloads, how many cleanups, how many yards.
She's a wonderful lady. She has a relative that backed over the mailbox and just stacked rocks up against it. And it was that way for probably 5 or 6 years. And I decided, well, you know, I can make stuff out of metal. And now it's on display.
Yeah, just something as simple as a mailbox, though, right? Can mean a lot to somebody.
Well, what Mal did is he handcrafted a piece of art that is so beautiful, it brightens up the entire street.
Had some time on your hand, huh?
I had a mailbox, and I
By
called
the way,
Mal
volunteers?
I said, Mal, I have this green mailbox. Can we repurpose this?
Yeah.
And it was a mess, and he cleaned it up. And then he said he could build a post for it. And I said, can we do leaves on it, like a vine? So I took some old things over there that were antiques, and he said, no, that's the wrong metal. That's not going to work. And he decided, I'm going to just own this project and do something really artsy. It is so beautiful, and he gifted it to the homeowner last December for a Christmas present. It was so special.
Awesome. Very cool. Very great.
It is. I got to say, it's a really cool mailbox. The post office lady, the mail delivery person, left a note in it. Said, "This is awesome."
Yeah, I bet they don't like my mailbox too much. It leans a little bit. That's because snow plows keep plowing into it. But have you come and fix mine for me too? Let's take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk about you've got another makeover that you want to do, and you're taking applications. So we'll come back and do that. This is countywide. We're talking about Amigos Del Verde Valley. Phone number 639-1666 to volunteer or donate. Call 634-9785. Countywide. Back in just a couple minutes.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better.
Just please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Store your guns properly. I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking Amigos Del Verde Valley with Sherry Twamley and Malcolm Otterson today. We've got just a few minutes left of the program, and you do have a makeover project coming up, and you're taking applications for it. So how does this application process work? What are the qualifications on that?
Yeah, if you or someone you know needs help from Amigos, we invite you to apply. We are going to do another home makeover, which is intensive if you need a lot of exterior home repairs and yard care. The qualifications are you have poverty or below income level,
okay,
and you're a senior, and your house is in disrepair, and you're in Clarkdale, Cottonwood, or the Verde Village. And if so, we invite you to apply because there's no cost to you, and you can get a lot of repairs done.
Okay, and now you mentioned earlier in the break too that a lot of the folks you help, they don't have family or friends in the area. They're just kind of forgotten, I guess is the word I'm thinking. They're sort of forgotten. They're living in, I don't want to say squalor, but definitely in standards that are less than what a normal person should be living in. Right, Malcolm?
Yes, and unable to take care of their situation themselves.
Right.
Unable to work in the yard themselves for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're infirm necessarily, but they just can't do it anymore.
Is there anything that you guys won't work on the outside of the house? Electrical, plumbing, anything like that? All of it's fair game?
We have people that would be able to.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'll dig ditches if they tell me to where to dig.
All right. I know you guys are doing roofs. You're doing
Yes.
windows. I imagine you're fixing sidings. You put in
doors, thresholds,
access ramps, doors, thresholds, stairs. So just about anything outside. So there you go. So how do we apply? What do we do?
All they have to do is call me, and I can pre-qualify them over the phone and provide them the paperwork necessary.
Okay.
And we will make our decision before the end of the year.
All right. Okay. So when are we hoping to do this makeover? Any time set yet?
As soon as we see what it entails, and we can give them an actual date.
Okay. All right. And then you're going to let me know that's going to be taking place, and then we can see if we can get more volunteers. As a volunteer, Malcolm, what are you looking for, and what do you kind of check on to make sure you don't get the wrong kind of volunteer?
If you're going to volunteer, I can't imagine you're the wrong kind of volunteer. There are no criteria. I'm probably the least physically qualified. I also happen to be the oldest one, I think. But there's nothing inherently, you've got to be willing to help somebody.
Okay.
To help somebody else. That's all. And that there's nothing else about this job. It's not, and most of us probably are retirees.
So when you show up, be ready to work, though.
Yeah.
Right? Be ready to work. And it could be just about anything from pulling weeds to trimming trees to trimming bushes, maybe mending a fence.
Right.
All kinds of different things could be done.
Physical, and sometimes just ideas, knowing what to do. We've got a couple guys that, they can do it and they know what to do.
Those are the good guys to have.
Yes. I can climb trees. I can take them down. I've got chainsaws. I've got all of that stuff.
Right.
But I got to be told where.
Gotcha.
And there's no minimum commitment. They can work in whatever schedule they want and choose what projects they want to work on.
Okay.
So if they only do roofing, we're good to go.
We're on time.
They can do that.
We're on time, Sherry. It was so great having you in. Thanks for coming in and actually sitting down this time with me instead of just bringing me guests. It's perfect. But keep doing the other thing, too. Malcolm, great meeting you.
Yeah, you too.
Phone numbers again for you. For Sherry, 639-1666. Volunteers and donations, get a hold of Malcolm at 634-9785. AmigosDelVerdeValley.com. That's our show today. We'll talk to you again next time. And I bring lunch. don't drive every day. Tuesday and Thursday.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say the poor little one.
He restrained quite well. Good job. I have to do it every time. I've only said shit once on the air and played twice. Yeah, and that was, and our general manager's mom is the one who heard it.
Yeah. Well, they got robbed.
No, that's the little grocery store next door.
Oh, the grocery store.
That's the little store here, but across the street in the dirt lot there is